everybody can hear the kind of background noise and the trials and stuff that we go through when it comes to booking shows and getting responses and meeting people. And welcome to Sofa City Sounds. We're live and I am so excited to be here. It's your local musical shit show, live from the car again, because it seems like this is going to be my new office. It's the only fucking quiet place I have. Please introduce yourself, because I have been so excited to fucking work with you guys or interview you, and I have totally fucked up for the last couple of months. So welcome.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm Nathan. I wear many different hats as
Yep.
one does in the music world. So I'm primarily here to kind of help promote Sentiment Dissolve's upcoming album. I'm their vocalist. We're releasing at the end of May. I
Yep.
also do bass and vocals in Hell Is Other People, and I am the vocalist of Skyless Eons. Those are kind of my three musical projects. I do some like online reviewing and stuff. I've been doing that
Cool.
since I was a teenager. So I write for a site called Metal Bite, and I do a monthly top albums of the month column. I
Cool.
also book and promote shows in the London area and wherever we can kind of find a place to set up.
Yep.
I go under the banner Six Set Dude Promotions, kind of going off of the Six Set Dude meme. I thought
Cool.
that was a
I
fun
shared
thing
so
to
much of
do.
your stuff. I didn't know it was you.
Yeah. No, that's I am the dude. I like
Oh,
to kind
right
of do the
on.
branding. I am the Six Set Dude, right?
That's
So it's
awesome.
just because out of all of the work I was doing and like getting on my own bands on shows and just kind of all of the
Yep.
moving parts that come with that, I was like, if you want to do something right, you might as well kind of do it yourself. And then, I can grow the scene here in London. I can bring cool bands
Yep.
here,
Yep.
form more connections, kind of use the connections I already have in that. And so, yeah, that's pretty much my musical self in a nutshell.
Right on, right on. Yeah, you're equally as busy as me. So as sorry as I am for all the stuff that's been going on for the last couple of months now, I feel like we're kind of on level ground because you're equally as busy as me. How do you keep
Yeah.
your
Oh,
hair
yeah. Yeah, I didn't even mention even when you get into what I do have to have a day job too, right? Because it's unfortunately being a musician and promoter and all that is not gonna pay the bills in any due time. So
Well, not if
um,
you want to sleep and eat and have a family and do all the things that you're doing, in your personal life. So
yep, absolutely.
yeah, no, I totally understand that. Single mom, couple of businesses, a couple other things on the go. I get it, man. I totally understand. And you're doing fantastic with all the stuff that you're doing
Yeah.
and all the juggling. You certainly should add performer to that. Like, on top of singer and promoter and
Yeah,
musician
yeah,
and
I guess that's true. There's
like I
people
mean
doing the
you're
shows.
doing a million different things, right? You're performing magic by trying to hold everything together.
Yeah, barely
I
feels like I am sometimes, but yeah, it's good. It's good.
So, all right, well, let's work backwards. Let's talk about this latest tour that you guys had going on. Oh, I'm going to put the comments on so we can see when people pop in.
No, yeah, someone said
Um,
hi. Cool.
Hi.
Hi,
So,
Anson.
oh, I love your last name. That's so cool. Yingling. I love that. That's awesome.
Very nice. Very nice.
Um, so, um, okay, yeah, I almost lost that. My ADHD is absurd sometimes. Um, let's start from the most recent. You guys went on a little bit of a tour with Sentiment Dissolve,
Yep,
and then we'll work our way back to, like your albums and how you guys got together and stuff like that.
for sure. Yeah. So our guitarist Nick, he plays in another band who I know you're familiar with, APOC.
Yeah.
They're incredible. They actually did an East Coast run back in, I feel like it was May of last year, about a year ago now at this point.
Okay.
And yeah, so while they were going through that on New Brunswick, they played Moncton, and they played with a band there called Omnivide. And I
Right.
saw them play, and they were like, holy fuck, these guys are amazing. We got to bring them to Toronto, like Ontario. Like
Yeah,
everyone
let's
needs to
do
see
this.
how good they are. So Brett from APOC actually reached out to me, and I think knowing that I do a little bit of the promoting thing, and we kind of
Right.
he was like, hey, I'm bringing these guys down. They want to do a little run in April. Would Sentiment be interested in playing that? And obviously I was like, hell to the yes. I hadn't even heard these guys yet, but Nick had been hyping up how amazing they were. So he put together a couple of the shows because he has some good kind of inroads in Guelph and Waterloo and that
Right
spot. And
on.
then I set up a couple other ones in like Ottawa, and we kind of co-booked Toronto and that. So yeah, we put all that together. We did a little kind of 6-day run. I guess you could call it a tour. You know, it's
Yeah.
not selling it short or anything.
Well, hey
And
man,
we
if
did
it's
the
more than
whole
2 cities.
yeah, we did the whole sleeping on air mattresses and rolling around super tired in a van for a little while,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was a ton of fun. Like we had the privilege of just playing with a bunch of really good bands who agreed to kind of open up and headline the shows. Like I'm trying to think of all of them. We had like Invicta, Morse Verum, Gut Void, Pillars of Autumn, Deafened, Catastrophic Hemorrhage. They're a cool newer band from like Brantford area.
Yep.
Our buds in No Longer Human. Like just all of the lineups were super stacked.
Yeah.
Omnivide, holy crap, they were not kidding. They did not sell that short. I was just having my mind blown every night for 6 days straight. Like
Amazing.
their musicianship and just like the mixture of elements. I'm not a big clean vocals guy a lot of the time, but I gotta say they integrate them into it friggin' masterfully.
Yep.
And it was just cool because we immediately just clicked personality wise. They're all super chill guys. And I was like, man, you guys are blowing my mind and making us look like shit every night. And then they were like, no, you're making us look like shit. Like, so there was that kind of the mutual respect kind of going on there. And
yeah,
we have a little bit of different energies because they're very like elegant and composed and serious. And we're just four idiots playing tech death. Like we just get stupid. We like to be fun and colorful because I feel like that kind of goes against the grain of the dark, brooding, serious metal guy or whatever, and kind of helps us a little bit to stand out. So I feel like those energies complemented each other really well on stage.
Yep.
And yeah, it was a fun little run. I'm not going to say we raked it in and made a ton of money, but we didn't lose money either. We kind of at least made enough to sort of like sustain the tour. We made a bunch of new connections, sold a good chunk of merch and all that. So that's what it's all about. It was for our first little run. It was about as good as I could have hoped it to be, and now we've got a great connection out in the East Coast if we ever want to do something there.
Wonderful. That's awesome. That's awesome. And sometimes it's nice to have that the balance in the networking versus the financial pay. Because sometimes that balance in networking takes you further than the finances ever will. Right. It's nice to have that, make sure there's gas in the van and make sure you guys got, gas station donuts and stuff like that. And I mean, sure, it's great if you guys end up with a couple of bucks here and there in your pockets and stuff at the end of the tour. But sometimes those connections and being able to just have those experiences are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, well, and absolutely, and I'm sure too, in the promoting game, like your connections are everything, right? You can't ever overlook someone or just, I don't know, be a dick to someone for no reason, because that's going to come back and bite you. It's like, I forget who it said, but you only have a little bit of time at the top, and then you're coming straight back down, and you're going to see everyone you saw on the way up. So you better make sure you didn't step on any toes in that.
No,
absolutely. And a lot of the times, it's going to take, like, you're not going to make a ton of money or do anything like that right out of the gate. You kind of gotta build your brand. You got to get out there so people actually know who you are in different cities. So then, down the line, when you do come down, people actually will come out to see you because they know who you are and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And with promoting, like you say, like connections are everything. And when I first started putting together shows, it wasn't on purpose. I was a biographer. I was a writer. I told people who you were. I did the interviews and stuff like that. And it was a learning game. Promoting is not easy. It's not for weak people, without sounding insulting. It's not, especially if you make sure that you are the one letting everybody in the door, because some people get angry when you don't let them in for free. But that's not how we pay our bills. And those are the realities of it. Now, is it a lot of fun? Yeah. Is it wonderful to see all your friends on stage and pull together parties and stuff? Yeah, it's one of the best fucking feelings at the end of the night to know that you did that. You and those bands pulled that shit off, and it's wonderful. but it comes with a lot of trial. It comes with a lot of learning. And I can say this from experience. It comes from, and you know from experience, because I just did it with you, it comes with a lot of apologizing when you're learning how to do things. And I don't care what anybody says. Apologies are important in this game. Even if other people don't feel like you fucked up or you made the mistake, if you feel that way, the apologies are important, because that's what keeps the glue together for doing these things. Everybody makes mistakes, right? So, and you know, like something as simple as your last message. My daughters use my phone sometimes, and that's probably what happened. I had no idea it was there, and I'm sure you could hear in my voice message that I felt like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
You know, but that's how we build these relationships. That's how we show the musicians that we work with that we're real, and how the musicians do it with us. We don't hesitate to say, okay, this is how it's done, or this is how I did it, or maybe I should have changed it, or whatever. It's a lot of work. It is.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, again, like it's a great rush to, like, you know, either be on stage or just see a bunch of people like fill a venue for something that you did and you all put together. But there's always that feeling on the other side that like you could have done a little bit more, right? Maybe I could have invested a little bit more into advertising. Maybe I could have just gotten the word out there a little bit more. So yeah, there's been a lot of times where it's like, I wish there was more people to see, because, you know, I want to make sure I genuinely like all of the bands that I get together to play our shows or that for a show that I put together. So when the turnout isn't what I wanted it to be, and I can't pay the band as much money as I would have hoped, I'm always like, you know, sorry guys, like I promise you keep coming back, like I'll make it worth your while, kind of thing. But yeah, no, I do think accountability is important for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it definitely is a game changer. I find anybody that I've held myself accountable to, if there has been some kind of issue, anybody I've held myself accountable to, I've had the best working relationships with them, because there's a real aspect to the things that we're doing, right? You've seen the real part of me, I've seen the real part of you. So now let's get out there and do this and make some money and put on a show and have a good time, you know?
Yeah,
So,
it's important to kind of see yourself as a person too. Like even when I'm like reaching out, like I try to, sometimes I get a little long-winded with my messaging, but I want to kind of put a little bit of personality, even if I'm literally just asking a band to play a show or kind of trying to follow up and confirm about something, because they want to know that it's like a person on the other end who actually like cares and notes, right? So I always try and like include some things about, hey, I've like listened to this song or this album, I love it, you guys are sick, like, you know, and give them as much kind of like detail or that as you can, because once you get to a certain point, you get a lot of those kind of messages and it's hard to sift through them all or even just go among those.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's very important to stay humble to the game, I suppose, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
So and like you guys are doing all those things. You guys seem like you are on the ball with being real, you know, how you advertise yourselves, how you carry yourselves. I haven't had the opportunity to actually be at a show, but I have seen a little bit of video here and there, and I can't fucking wait to see you guys. I really can't. I really wish we were able to make Niagara work out. But I think we'll plan something for somewhere down the road this summer, maybe.
Oh yeah, we got I got some stuff in the works. Again, kind of doing the booking stuff for multiple bands. It gets pretty scattered, but yeah, I definitely want to get out there on a good day in that. Hopefully before the summer's up.
Definitely, we'll see what we can do to make that happen for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So. Okay, well, we covered your tour and all the fun things that we get to do behind the scenes. So let's move back to your music, your albums, your you know, the things that you've released and stuff like that. Where did it start for you guys with recording and putting music together, as opposed to where you are now?
So I honestly, like, Skyless Eons is kind of like the first band. So I first that was the first band I was in. I joined up with Nick to do that when we were both the same age. We were both 18 when we did that. That was about 10 or 11 years ago at this point. So I met Nicholas Luck, our guitarist. He's the guitarist in all my bands because I just get him in everything I do. Yeah, we met actually at a Cryptopsy show when we were, I think, like 17 or 18, or
Nice.
like just towards the tail end of high school.
Yep.
And we just kind of, I think we were introduced through a mutual friend, and we just kind of started talking, and it was like we were like name dropping all of the like underground bands that we only thought we knew of and nobody
Yep.
else. Like I was like, oh shit, you know who Adversarial are? Oh hell yeah, okay, we gotta like you're my best friend now. Like
Yeah.
we gotta start doing more stuff. So we started out with Skyless. I didn't even really know how to do vocals or anything like that at the time. I do have some formal singing experience from I did musical theater in high school. I was
Cool.
Roger in Rent. Woo, yeah, that was
Cool.
so I knew the kind of rules of projection in that, and I was always just like obsessed with metal. So I obviously wanted to do something related to that. So I just kind of learned as we went. We randomly found a drummer. I think like Nick was taking the bus one day, and some guy was like on the bus, and he saw that he was, because he had his guitar with him. This guy was like, "Yo, I should introduce you to my buddy. He's a death metal drummer." And he's like, oh, "Okay, yeah, cool." And that was Martin Burchill. He's the drummer of Skyless. So
Cool.
we hung out and we kind of jammed, and that was where I kind of honed my chops. And
Yeah.
and then that band has a bit more of like, it's like a prog death doom, kind of a little bit of black metal in there. Like we kind of just threw whatever influences we were vibing with and bands we liked and try to just make a little collage of everything that's cool. But we've always just been like huge tech death fans.
Yep.
And Nick's always just been an insane guitarist who just can write crazy, fast kind of tapping stuff. You hear it in the songs that we listen to in that.
Yeah.
And then at the same sort of time, he also knew of Matt, who is Sentiments drummer, who he was in sort of like a little short-lived project with Nick, like another band he was in that did like a house show or here and there, but never really fully got off the ground. And he was just showed up at a show that we were playing at one point, and we were like, "Hey, you still drumming?" Like, and then we got that together. We knew Spinny actually from playing some shows together with Skyless from his other band Kavara.
Love them.
So we knew he could lay it down in that. So we'd all been kind of like going to shows, and we all kind of formed together in that. And I feel like Nick will say, like, I love Skyless. I still love playing those songs. I'm really excited to like with the new material that we're working on. But I think me and Nick are both really excited for like Sentiment Dissolve to finally just be out there in the public, because it's the culmination of a lot of years of writing, and we just kind of getting the right guys who just had the right kind of drive and the chops to play the music that we had in our heads. So yeah, just a little bit of a mix of everything, but basically just a coagulation of guys we kind of knew in the London scene from just being around a few times and just going to as many shows as possible. Like I get a lot of people who maybe they'll reach out to me and they'll be like, "Man, I play guitar. I really want to get a band going, but I just can't really find the people to do it or that want to do it." And the main thing I tell them is just go to shows. Like, go to shows and just talk to people, and like, look for a band shirt that you like and be like, "Yo, I love those guys are sick." And then you kind of get the little jive going there. And yeah, that's what it's all about. That's how kind of those new connections form.
No, absolutely. It's 7:25. Should we pause for French fries?
Oh, yes. Okay. I'll run out for a second.
I can't believe I remember that.
Back. Give me like 2 minutes.
Awesome. While you're gone, I'm going to mention to everybody that May 25th is the Mayhem Metal Market at the Exchange in Niagara Falls. If you're over 15, it's $25 to get in. And if you're under 15, it is $15 to get in. The doors open at 6:30. There are going to be roughly 12 vendors, I believe. I don't have the list in front of me. I can tell you that the Tasteful Kitty will be there, and that Marissa J from Garbage to Goth will be there. And I can tell you, well, we haven't released them yet, but the Devil's Cellar will be there, which is wonderful. So Unusual, we haven't released them yet, but they will be there as well. And then the bands we have going on stage are fucking killer. We have Crimson Asphalt, Cryophilic, we have Verdizzo and Temple of Night, and we also have, there's one more, Stuck in Neutral. That was perfect timing. I managed to plug the metal market
Oh,
And
amazing.
like
Yeah.
from the second you got up to the second you sat down, that was fucking perfect timing.
That's good. Yeah, it turned off the oven. Fries are perfect. Yeah, so
Wonderful.
yeah, my wife's gonna love that when she walks in, just having those ready.
Fantastic. Working dinner at the same time.
Well, like I said, many hats you got to juggle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why I mentioned being a performer earlier.
Yeah,
So it's definitely a task to do it all. But when you find that um that weird unbalanced groove where you work well, and I say unbalanced because it's like work and kids and food and music and like so like you're all over the place, but you find that I don't know, that wave that you can ride and get it all done.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I know I have
absolutely.
those moments where like I'll get an interview and I'll have a biography done and I'll finish putting together a show and I'll prep all my food for the week and the kids' lunches are ready. And I sit down at the end of the day and I'm like, wow, I'm Superwoman. And then the next day I don't lift a fucking finger unless it's to roll joint.
There you go. Yeah, if you go too hard for too long, you definitely
Yeah.
burn yourself out, and
Yeah.
you gotta space that out and make that time. Because if you don't like basically tell yourself when to stop, your body's gonna do it for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to I guess force the stop of the rush though, right?
Yes.
Because when you get on that ball, you're just like, no, I'm gonna do 50 million things and I'll deal with tomorrow. Tomorrow. That's my problem later, not now.
Yeah,
And I do
well,
it every
like
time.
moving is living, right? When you're busy, you just don't have time to, think about it.
Yeah,
You just kind of go, go, go. And
yeah,
I mean, I probably have some form of latent, undiagnosed ADHD that I'm sure pops up and is why I like to be so busy with
yep,
so many different little things. But
yep. They're
yeah,
called side quests.
yeah, yeah,
I have severe ADHD and I am unmedicated. And I have a main quest, which is to sit down at the end of the day. And all my little side quests are all the things I have to get done, pay the bills and cook the food and get the work done and do. And I kind of make a game out of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Well,
that's a good way of looking at it, like a side quest kind of thing. Yeah.
well, yeah, because like, we live every day and we only die once. Unless you're me, then you die twice. But we live every day and we only die once. So we should be living every day until that day comes. We like if we're living in the future, we're super anxious, and if we're living in the past, we're super depressed, and if we're living in the present, then we get to enjoy what we're going through.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's what I love about being in this industry is I always have to be present or I fuck up.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. All you can really worry about is like what's right in front of you. Like it's easy to get caught up in what
yeah.
you could be doing X amount of times down the line, or reflecting on what you could have done differently before. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good metaphor for mindfulness and life in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why we don't structure or plan or write down, questions or anything. Like, I just want it to be comfortable. I want it to be fun. I don't mind awkward pauses sometimes because they're real. I interviewed Cryophilic and we did our best to make it as awkward as possible, as much as we could. And it was fun, and a lot of people tuned in. Like we had, a lot of views. It was a great show. And that's why we do it this way, because we live in the moment. We like to enjoy. If there's a mistake, well, fuck it. People are going to see it. And if it goes off really well and no issues, and then great. People are going to see that too. But like, I try to be real because I'm not perfect. And I find that gives us a good track record in this industry.
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
absolutely. Yeah, makes you seem
so
human. And Cryophilic, by the way, sick band. Yeah, Skyless actually played with them back in March, I think it was, beginning of March.
awesome.
But yeah, yeah, really, really good guys. If you're
Yeah.
watching this, guys, we do more shows with me. Hit me up.
I actually have them booked for the Metal Market in May.
Yeah, that's right. End of May. Yeah.
There are so many local bands that are my favorites. It's hard, it's hard not to, everybody's so talented, and like good people. And that's what I love about this community. We're more of a family than a community, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love Cryophilic. They're like way up here for me. They're my favorite. I turned 40 with them. and
Oh,
eaten
cool.
by sharks. Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. So it was also my last pit, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I
So
go in the pit increasingly less the older I get. Not that I don't appreciate when a pit happens during one of our sets or that,
yep.
but oh yeah, it's there. You can't just bounce off people the way you used to.
No, no, no. It's not like it's not as easy as it used to be. I find even like jumping around at shows and stuff, like I'm moving into that senior headbanger where it's mostly just my head and my hand versus like my whole body.
Yeah.
But I've been to 2,000 shows plus, so I
Ooh.
feel like, well, performances.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say shows, I should say performances,
Yeah.
because you know, and I just feel like my headbanging has evolved. I've earned the right to either ride the rail or stand at the back. I've done my time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
so so okay, so what like we're having such an easy time shooting the shit that like I'm not even asking you anything because this conversation is flowing so well. But
Yeah.
like how did you become a metalhead? What was the song or the band or the moment in your life
Ooh,
where you were
I
like,
love
fuck
that
man, this is
question.
it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh, let me like the first band that I heard that had harsh vocals was actually Alexis on Fire.
Nice.
So that was when I was maybe like 11 or 12. I think the what inadvertently got me into metal was getting an iPod for Christmas one year. I think it
Cool.
was a little iPod Nano, fourth
Yep.
generation or something like that. I think I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I was kind of like, well, this is kind of stupid without music on it, so I might as well put some stuff. And I started out with like kind of the rock stuff, like Billy Talent, Rise
Yep.
Against, like those are still big nostalgia bands for me.
Yep. Great band.
But then even like I remember when I first heard Alexis on Fire and just like the harsh vocals, I was like, what the hell is that? Like it kind of freaked me out a little at first, but there was this weird like forbidden fruit allure to it where I kind of kept coming back to it. And then from there, it just kind of evolved into I just wanted stuff that was like I've always been a speed freak. I've always just like really fast kind of music in
Me
that.
too.
And so I just wanted stuff that was faster or just more like heavier, just weirder, just kind of more like off the wall.
Yep.
So yeah, so I had like I'm probably a little bit of like an emo phase where it was like Alexis on Fire, Silverstein, Under Oath, couple of those. And then I kind of graduated out of that, and then it got to more like Arch Enemy, kind of Behemoth, Cataclysm.
Right on. Hang on.
And then I kind of heard black metal, and then the whole just like kind of weird allure of the like second wave and all of the heinous stuff that they were doing at that point. Like as
Yep.
as a wannabe edgy 14-year-old kid, that's like, oh man, these guys look the coolest thing ever. Like a lot of the aspects of that, like I've kind of been like, okay, yeah, these guys are just a little but like I still love the music. Like it's yeah,
I gotcha. Yeah. Those things never go away. We just put them in a little compartment on a shelf, and I know for me every once in a while I will blast Korn like I am 14 again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna roll down my window. My neighbor is about to pass me a joint, and I'm not gonna say no.
Please don't say no.
So I'm actually doing an interview right now. I'm working, so you're live on the internet with me.
Hello, hello.
So this is my neighbor Tara. This is Nathan. He's
Nice
the
to meet
lead
you.
singer of Sentiment Dissolve.
Nice
So-
to meet you.
Mhm.
Good to meet you too.
So-
You know Cam Schwartz?
I don't know. Do you know-
Yeah, he works for
Cam's
Sentiment
awesome, eh?
Records,
Yeah, I know Cam. I used to hang out with Cam in a bunch of like years, like this is years ago, but he was always into the industry and
Yeah.
sort of like,
Cam was in my third book,
yeah.
second book. I don't know, volume 2 or 3. Yeah, I love Cam. He's fucking actually. So, a friend of mine had given me a sticker of Cam's face wearing the 1980s bandana. So,
Oh,
like if you
nice.
look on my car, Tara,
Yeah.
Cam's face is on the his face is on the center of my fucking hood on my car. I
Yeah.
drive around
I
with
mean-
Cam Schwartz's
His little
face on my
weirdo
car.
fucking
He's got
shorts
such
with
an
the ball
iconic
hanging
face.
Yeah, I know,
like-
I know. I own those 80s shorts too, man. I don't have to worry about the ball hang though.
That's like his thing though. Eh? He's always wearing his little pedo fucking shorts with his little.
I love those shorts,
Yeah,
man. Those are
hilarious.
great. Those are fantastic.
Last time I saw him, we were at the creek. We were jumping in the creek in Chippewa. It was like, wow, it was
Nice.
just last summer. I haven't seen him in a bit though.
That's awesome. Yeah. See, I love doing this in my car. hard because I always run into well, my favorite weirdos, my neighbors. Our daughters are friends, and we stand in the parking lot and smoke joints together and
Yeah.
vent about life. It's wonderful.
Oh, that's a
So
nice vibe.
yeah, so I come out here to work now because my office inside is full of
Yeah.
dog and children.
Yeah, no, it's peace
So-
and quiet out here.
Yeah, no, and this interview has been absolutely fantastic. I'm absolutely loving the fact that we finally got to chat and like not have something get in the way or like me remember to message you back or because I'm thinking like I had to have seen the message because I had you booked in today. So I had to have known that you had messaged me. I don't understand why I didn't message you back. So I am so sorry, but I'm so glad that we're
Oh,
getting
it's
to do
okay.
this.
It's happening now, so it's all good.
Well, it is. And I won't keep you too much longer because I know that you have a Leafs game. Go Habs at 8:00. So I won't keep you too much longer. We have covered a lot of good major stuff that is happening with you guys. What do you have up and coming? What is happening in the next, say, 3 to 6 months for you guys?
Yeah. So obviously the album, so that comes out May 24th. We just released the second single out of it, which is probably one of my favorite songs off the album.
Cool.
Forced Birther is the title of that one. That's got
that's
probably my most like on the nose lyrics. A lot of the times I'm really like metaphorical and stuff. But so that's coming out, and then we're also playing sort of a couple of release shows prior to that. So we've got our hometown album release show the day before at Rum Runners in London on May 23rd.
Cool.
That's got an absolutely stacked lineup. We got all the buddies for that. We got APOC. We got Nick's other band.
Love them.
We got Azab, who's on tour from Pakistan. We
Cool.
have Disgust, which is kind of Brett's other band that's a little bit more brutal. We played with them on the Omnivide tour, and they were very, very spicy, very nice. And then Kavara as well. So we kind of brought it full circle and brought all those bands that we're kind of connected with and
on
having us play a show together.
That's
and
awesome.
then the day before in Windsor, actually, we just hopped on a show with Azab and Kavara. That's kind of Azab's doing their headlining as part of their like tour date. So we've got those coming up, and then obviously just for the next couple weeks, just trying to push that album and get as many people to come out to the show as we can. And then we've got a few shows, I think, in the process of this interview. One in Hamilton actually just got announced for June 28th. I think that's got, so we're doing it. It's a lot of other CDN bands, actually. So the lineup is us. So there's one before in Oshawa on the 27th, and the lineup for that is us, Corrosive, Vaginal Addiction, Blood of Christ, and I think that's everyone. My apologies.
That's a fucking sick lineup.
Yeah, that one's
awesome
really good.
Lineup.
Yeah, and then so the day after in Hamilton, there's Swap Out Corrosive, because I think they're doing another show that day in Toronto. Yeah, and then we have Consuming Misery, who are a sick new like young local old school death metal band out of Hamilton.
Please send them
I've chatted with their guitar, I think is their guitar player, maybe vocalist, Nick, a few times. And he's super chill guy. He came out to one of our shows in Hamilton. So I'm stoked to see his band and what they got going on. Then there's one more in Guelph. And then I don't know, maybe we'll hit Niagara in July. Maybe
that would be great.
They're
waiting for me to get them on the fucking bill at a bar. So we're doing something.
That's pretty much it.
We'll certainly figure out something for Niagara. You are touring. You are playing with some of the bands that I have had previously in Sofa City Sounds. Kavara, cool. I love them. When you said Spinny, my face lit right up. They were so fun to work with. I love Serena. I love all of them. They're great.
Yeah, they're all. We actually share a practice space with them.
Cool.
We're very like very close ties, I would say.
Well, please tell all those lovely humans that I said hello. And as soon as I have a vehicle that works and isn't just an office that sits in my parking lot, I will certainly be out there to see you guys. I haven't been to London in a while, and I'm fucking way overdue. So
it's not bad. There's a kind of a dearth of venues, like smaller venues right now. Like it's basically Rum Runners and that's it.
Yeah.
But hopefully something else pops up soon. I've been this close
I'm
to
gonna.
starting a crowdfunding for call the office back or something.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
I saw Lutharo and Crimson Shadows open up for Ailstorm at Call the Office. And I'm telling you, when we all bounced the floor 2 to 5 inches, I mean, like the floor was like,
Yeah,
it
I think
was
that's part of the reason
crazy.
why it's not going anymore. Is I think there's some things about it that aren't up to code, and the current owner doesn't
Yeah,
want
and
to do
have
repairs.
you
That's
like
what I've heard.
the history of that building is certainly something interesting. The history of that building is I guess it sits right on two fault lines.
Oh,
There's an artist that used to rent the space in that building, and the reason he rented the space is because where the building actually sits, it kind of like coincided with his energy and his art and stuff like that. Yeah.
huh. Very
Yeah,
nice.
friends of mine used to, Jillian Underhill and Vanessa used to work there and run the bar and do shows and stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, that was one of the things I learned from them when they were there. So
No kidding. No kidding.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
didn't even
cool.
know that. But yeah, it's definitely got a storied history. Like
Oh
so
yeah.
many huge bands have come through there. Even just bands that I think I saw Voivod there. I saw like Origin and
Yeah.
Jungle Rod there. Like
Yep.
there's, and I know like things like Nickelback and Radiohead have come through it at some point. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really like I feel like we're missing a piece of London's history with that. Just I pass by it on my way to work every morning, and I'm like, oh, like just it's just an abandoned building. It just something.
I feel like you're right. Like there's I don't know, there's history to that building. Like
You know, our kids nowadays are missing this because back in the day, like when we were younger,
yeah.
like I remember my ex Mike, he used to always the Polish Hall things. He used to
Yeah,
always
there
put
used to
shit
be
on.
huge parties
Like
at
our
places
kids,
like
our
that.
kids are missing out on these kinds
Well,
of
yeah,
things
because
because of drugs and parents
well,
are married
and corporate,
whatever.
and
Yeah,
you know, it's
but
hard
like I
nowadays.
miss that. That's part of
Me
like
too.
things that I miss. Like
Yeah. Oh no, Call
that
the
my
Office,
kids are
man.
missing. Like my kids are missing that.
Yeah. Well, I guess our Call the Office would be like the Caverly and City Limits.
Yeah,
That would be like we had these two places.
city limits down. Yeah,
Yeah,
downtown.
yeah, City. They actually just went up in flames a little while ago
Yeah,
too.
right.
So yeah,
But, like, we
that
had
would
the
be our
Polish
Call the
Hall. Polish
Office.
Hall we
Yeah,
had.
we did a lot of metal. We used to have this place called Sloth Tones, and
That was what's his face used to run that.
Frank,
Mary Ryan,
yeah.
cousin.
yeah, Uncle.
Frank,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the very first show I saw in there, Cam was probably there. Cam was the very first person to bring death metal to Niagara with his band Mangled.
Any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I saw a YouTube clip of them from like the 90s or something like that.
1991.
14.
He's also like a fucking killer breakdancer.
Oh,
Yeah, he was a good skateboarder.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
skateboarder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you want to talk wearing many hats? That man has a bigger collection of hats than I have fucking Converse
seriously,
shoes.
worth some money, man.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
retro way.
So yeah, he's definitely he's definitely well versed in lots of things.
Yeah.
So well, where can we find you? Where are I'm gonna say the socials? I sound like I'm so old when I say it, but like where are we gonna find you on the socials? Where can we find your music and your merch and all that fun stuff?
Most of the standard platforms. Merch, you're gonna have to come to a show, at least for now. You know, we kind of want to reserve that for
I love that.
people who come and see us live, but we do have
Cool.
a pretty decent spread going on right now. I think the running joke was we had more shirt designs than we had songs at one point, like before our music was out. But like people buy shirts, so it's a good way to get her going.
Right on.
And then we have Instagram and Facebook. I think we have a TikTok, but we don't really do much with it because none of us really use or know how to use TikTok.
It took me
We
some
can be a
time.
little behind on the times in that regard, and the social media game can just be endlessly draining. But yeah, we have Sentiment Dissolves on both Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
We have our singles, our two singles that we've dropped. We have a music video up for one on YouTube.
Okay.
We premiered that through Slam Worldwide. That got it a little bit of traction. And then we just launched like I said, our second single, which is a lyric video. That can be on the CDN Records YouTube channel because I don't know if I mentioned that, we are working with CDN to release our album and all that.
Yeah.
So you can pre-order it from them there. You can pre-order it from us at our Bandcamp. Yeah, that's pretty much just anywhere that you normally stream music. I feel like we're now up, like where I think we're on Spotify and Tidal and all that other stuff. So,
Cool. All right.
yeah, wherever you can access it, get those first few tracks,
Yeah.
get hyped for it, do pre-orders. It's talk to your friends about it, share it everywhere you go. Like I feel like a lot of the times in the PR game, the best is just organic word of mouth. Like you can only really fabricate so much of that, and like
Yep.
hopefully,
Yep.
we stand out and make enough of an impression on you that you'll want to tell somebody else about that, or you'll just want to listen to it again and maybe come
Or
and
both.
see us when we come through Ontario, because we're trying to play around Ontario as much as possible. Want to break into Quebec.
Terrible. You like Ontario? You like it, eh?
Well, they're from London. So. Yeah. So I honestly, I think we fucking nailed this interview, dude. We were so worried about time in the game and food, and like
Oh yeah,
we
no,
crushed
no.
it. We
gotta.
crushed
I
it.
mean, I could keep
so
going
well.
for sure. Yeah, so it's like just ask me anything. I love dorking out about music.
Oh man,
and stuff or whatever.
Anybody who knows me knows I'm a fucking talker. I can talk and talk and talk and talk, which I mean, like this just means that I get to talk about you guys, right? Word of mouth, and I never shut up. So you'll be another band that I continue in on my conversations. And I mean, I've already been talking about you guys ever since we started, trying to put you here in the falls.
Sure.
Because I got to listen to your music, which I don't normally do. I usually go to shows to listen to the bands, because if I like you live, then I like you recorded, right?
Yeah, that's usually a good indicator, right? Yeah.
And and that's how I meet everybody too. Like I walk in and I'm like, holy fuck, you guys are amazing. This is the first time I've heard you. Let's do an interview. Right. Because that's what I do. I grab the people that are, that are new and up and coming, or that, work really hard too. Like I don't discriminate. I'll work with anybody. But
Sure.
like I try to find the ones where people are like, hey, my buddy just put together a band last month. Really? Okay, I'm going to see them. Right? Like that's how I discovered Loser. I walked in and I was like, holy fuck, who are you guys? And I had an interview with them a couple weeks later, right? So
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of different ways to just discover stuff. Sometimes like for me, it was just pouring through like I get a lot of promos as a reviewer. So sometimes I like just going into those blind. Sometimes, I think back in the day, it was a lot more like going to shows and then seeing a band open. I remember I discovered Lapsaria from London, who I think is actually starting to do stuff and be active again. Because they were like, I watched them play and I was like, holy crap, like these guys are from London? Like what? Like really? Like that's a cool feeling to just like, even to this, that like a band we played with my other band, Hell Is Other People.
Yeah.
They're called They Grieve. They're from Ottawa.
Cool.
And I will say it is the best live show I have ever seen. Like and I've seen a lot. I've been to Maryland Death Fest. Like I've been to some like larger shows. I went to Mesa de Montreal. But that like hit me on a level I didn't even know music was capable of accessing. Like I broke down into tears as I watched them play. Like and I played with them. Like we just finished playing and then we went on and they did that and I was just like, what did I even just witness? Like every aspect. Yeah, I remember I went up to their guitarist afterward and I was like, that was the best thing I've ever. They were just like a blubbering mess, and I like he was just looking at me like, "Yo, thanks, man." Like you think he was a little weirded out, but I'm sure he appreciated the reaction that I sort of had to their music and that.
Well,
I was just going to and playing a local show. I saw the best live set I think I've ever been able to witness.
Yeah, that's I like. First time I saw Corrosive, you had mentioned them earlier. They're also in Sofa City. First time I had seen them, I had no fucking idea what I was getting myself into.
Oh they're so good.
And I got to see them last year. It was almost a year to the day, April 29th, I believe. I got to see them with Rippard and Razor, and I know there was another band that opened, and I don't remember who it is.
Maybe
Sorry, guys.
Mortal Annoyance. I feel like
I believe you're right. As soon as you said it, yeah. What a fucking wild show that was. Now I'd seen Corrosive before that, but I felt like I had never seen Corrosive before that show. Like that was on another level. It was insane.
Yeah. Apparently they
You
just
know?
keep getting better and better too, which they played one of the Toronto show of the Omnivide run. That was my first time seeing them, and I'd heard so many good things about them, and just
Yeah.
seeing it live for the first, just like the energy, like they're just like
Yep.
razor tight, like they
Yeah.
just have the right amount of like crowd and like, and as like, you know, somebody who performs at shows myself, I
Yep.
appreciate when like every little single aspect of your performance is just carefully thought about like that.
Yep.
Like that's what I loved about They Grieve. Like the space in between songs was just
Yep.
almost even better than the songs themselves. Like it was like when everything's well thought out like that just makes me appreciate it. And then when it just gets you going in your gut.
Yeah.
Like when Corrosive just, they have those like hard hitting thrash riffs that are just like, ooh, yeah, that's
Absolutely.
why I do this. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. The one thing that I absolutely loved about Corrosive, not to say that other bands haven't done this, but they were the ones that really stuck out in my mind. I don't know why, but the very first time I had ever seen them, Derek walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "Hey man, I just want to thank you for coming to our show," with a great big smile on his face. And then the girl standing next to me, he shook her hand and he said, "Hey man, listen, I really want you to know that I appreciate that you came to our show." He did not repeat that sentence in the same words twice. Every time he thanked somebody, it was genuine. It was a, "Hey, thank you for coming. You know what? I appreciate that you were here. Hey, listen, I'm really grateful that you got to see me play live." Like he actually thought about what he was going to say when he thanked everybody. And like that just, to me, that says a lot about the character of the band and how they play and how they, they put themselves together and stuff like that. And honestly, the one thing I love about Ontario metal, no matter the genre, a lot of the musicians are like that. A lot of you are just very down to earth, really grateful that you get to do what you do, but grateful that people get to hear it too. Not just that you can do it, but that people enjoy it and they keep coming back. And to me, like watching you guys do that, that's why I do what I do. I love seeing everybody get together, and I love the pits, and I love watching people get picked up when they fall over, and the bands interacting with the crowds and how much fun they have when they're playing, and the smiles and the pictures. And quick shout out to Miles, because he's the fucking man when it comes to photography.
Oh, like, yeah. His photos are fantastic. Yeah, we were lucky enough to, I know being in Toronto, he has so many different shows that he can go to. So when he picks your show, it's almost like a badge of honor. It's like, I know you're gonna photograph us this time. Yeah.
No, he is. He's so, like, I know he sometimes feels like he has imposter syndrome, but he really deserves every single comment and compliment and little bit of love and emotion and share and everything that everybody does when it comes to his photography. Because like that man, I've known that man for just over a year and a half, and he is one of the only people I know that messages me every day, "Hey man, morning, how you doing? I hope you have a great day."
Oh, that's super
and
nice.
It's so many people I talk to, "Hey, Miles, does that with me," and he does that, and he's a genuine fucking human being. And I think all of our lives are a little bit better having him in, whether it's a picture or it's a conversation or a handshake, or we get to compliment the kilt or whatever it is. I just, that was a way longer shout out than I thought that was.
No, he deserves every bit of praise he can get. Like
he does.
Anybody, and like you said, like those people are the reason that I do that. Like I try to make a point at the end of any show that I play with any band, is just even saying like out to the crowd, like, "Thank you for coming. Like we wouldn't do this without you."
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we wouldn't, right? If no one came to our shows, we wouldn't really have an impetus for. And then you throw in like people who film their performance. I love watching back what I've done afterwards. Like shout out to like Chris Schweitzer and Gary Gazoo. I see them at more shows than I can count, and they're just super nice, down to earth people and great supporters of the scene.
Great human beings.
People like that get me fired up to go to a show and want to keep doing this. And you know,
Yeah.
just seeing people I don't recognize too. It's like,
Which is cool.
it's like, how did you find out about this? Like,
Yep.
I hope you like it. That's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I like when I'm at a show and I walk up to a band and I'm like, hey, I'm Amanda, I own Sofa City Sounds, and they're like, oh, I heard about you, and I'm like, there's no fucking way, nobody knows who I am. Like, you know what I mean? But on the same token, I love it when I walk into a show and I walk up to a band and I'm like, hey, I'm Amanda and I fucking love your stuff, and they're like, really? Like, how did you hear it? Like, because I drive from Niagara to Toronto to London too. It doesn't matter if my little piece of shit car will get me there, I will go. You know, and I do. Like I was just saying earlier, your show in Hamilton. As long as I can get my exhaust fixed by the time you're there, I will be there. Because Hamilton's only an hour away from me. So, you know, and I try to do as much as I can. Karina, she's promoter out of Toronto, Karina Davey. I fucking love her. Any show I can get to that she puts on, because she puts on fucking top tier bands.
Well, there you go. She's putting on the Hamilton show.
Right? Well, see, and it's all coming full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I give that woman a huge shout out every time I can. Women in metal are important for sure. We bring an extra energy to it that it makes it that much more magical.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Balance, right? I mean, it's certainly a men's playground, but there are hundreds, if not thousands of us women that are in the scene that work extremely hard. And I see there's one right there.
Nice.
If I don't mention Steph from Ryfield, I would just not be doing her a service at all. That woman, I don't know when she has time to eat or breathe or anything. She is constantly on the go. I have been on the phone with her at 11 o'clock at night trying to coincide things. We've talked at 10 o'clock in the morning. I will send her a message at 7 and she'll reply at 2 and then gets up and moms and wives and works and she's amazing. Like I can't say enough good stuff about her. I love you, Steph. I really do.
Anybody associated with Ryfield, absolutely. Like Steph, I know, like Ben and Shane, the ones who put that on. Like again, another great like supporter and prop for like Ontario bands, and gives them a platform and everything too. And we were reached out to at one point to get on that, but I think there was one time we had to cancel, one time they had to cancel. It just kind of never really fully synced up, but I know they're booked up pretty heavy because a lot of people have, people are starting to take notice and they're becoming a pretty popular
they
spot.
Work really, really hard to do everything they do. Know you, Steph. Know you, but also thank you.
So we definitely love to
Steph says we need to get you guys in. I think that's the green light for you guys to strike up a conversation behind the scenes when we're done. Speaking of which, Puck Drop is in less than 60 seconds.
I mean, not that I'm like it's a hard deadline or whatever. I still need to eat.
I know.
I'm kind of dreading it because like they're probably going to get eliminated. Like I at this point I've been a Leaf. That was kind of hockey was kind of my thing before I just fell in love with music. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be an NHL player, and that it was just that I tend to, when I find something I like, I tend to just get really obsessed with it. And the Leafs have been my team since I was 3 years old. So I am no stranger to the disappointment. So this year I almost kind of expected, like I didn't even watch Game 5 with like a little bit earlier. And I was like, oh, okay, they won. All right. Yeah, maybe I'll check out Game 6. Like, it ropes you back in because it's definitely, it's exciting when it does happen. But at this point, I'm not expecting a lot. It's no. So all of that to say, if I end up going a little bit over and I miss a chunk of the first period,
it is.
It's not over till the third goes off, anyways.
Yeah, I hear you. No, hockey was my thing for a long time. I was a Leafs fan the very first 32 years of my life. I was a Leafs fan, diehard. I loved the Leafs. And then they lost 11 games in a row, and the last game they lost was 9-2. And I had enough. I was sick of the anxiety.
It's hard.
Yeah, and like it wasn't a traitor thing or anything like that. People fucking razz me for it all the time. But my older brother, who's not around anymore, was a fucking diehard Habs fan. And that's the only reason that I went over to the dark side,
Hey,
was
that's fair.
because it was my brother's favorite team. And like the North Stars could have been his favorite team, and they'd be my team. Anybody could have, the Avalanche, anybody could have been his, and they would be my now team. That's how it, because I like, who the fuck else? I didn't watch other teams in hockey. I watched the Leafs. I didn't know how to pick a hockey team. I was born into
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, you don't choose them;
Right?
they kind of choose you. But if
Yeah.
paying tribute to a family member and all that, that's
Well, and that like
that's
just
different. Yeah,
like I'm, and not to knock sports fans or anything like that. And I mean, we work fucking hard for our money. And I just, at that point, I felt like I was putting in my hard-earned dollars to $1 billion industry that wasn't giving me back my dollars worth.
yeah.
And I'm being honest. I'm being real.
No, that's fair. Yeah, and
You know,
it's also like a little frustrating when these guys are getting paid millions to, perennially disappoint. And
yeah. And I'm
we're
not
like,
getting
yeah,
paid millions to buy your $180 jersey. I
yeah.
don't know what inflation is now. I haven't bought a hockey jersey in a long time.
Oh, it's probably
But
more than that. I
you
would
know,
wager. Yeah, yeah.
so like, I mean, I still love the sport. I think that maybe one day we'll see. I mean, it could happen, but and I think there's a lot of players on the Leafs team that are fantastic fucking players.
Yeah.
I just sometimes I think it's in their contract, their script, maybe.
Yeah, it's
How
hard to
many
know
people will keep
what it
paying
is.
us to
Just
lose?
every year they seem to find a new. I feel like the leafiest thing they could do this year is they'll win Game 6 and then lose Game 7 again to Boston, because what else would they do, right?
Well, like
That's
I just couldn't continue to be in that kind of abusive relationship,
yeah. It feels
especially if they're
it
not
feels a little
buying
bit
me dinner.
masochistic sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
There was a hot minute there where I felt like jumping ship for Vegas when they first
Yeah.
were like established as an expansion team, and I'm like, every now and then I'm just like, man, should have jumped ship for Vegas when I had the chance.
Yeah.
Like now I look like a bandwagon guy, but like
Yeah.
then it would have been okay. Like
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it is what it is, like I'm an Eagles fan, and I was never a football fan before 2 years ago. And then I just picked a team, and the Eagles was the team that I picked. And then the year after, they went to the Super Bowl, and
hell yeah.
they lost, and I'm still an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
So but like, it just, I don't know, you pick your thing and you enjoy it, or you don't. And I think hockey is one of those great things that we can all sit and talk about, whether we like good teams or not, because it's all
Yeah.
about the love of the game, right?
Oh
Especially
yeah,
being Canadian,
absolutely.
it's kind of in our blood.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you grow up and it's just I don't know, it's such a fun game to watch, play. I
yeah.
feel like it's just so different from the other major sports. Not that I don't appreciate the other. I'm I follow the NFL to some extent.
Yep.
I'm a Bengals fan myself, like,
Yep.
but something different about hockey. And I don't know if it's the Canadian thing or what, but yeah, definitely vibe with it.
Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch of it. Like hockey grew out of Canadian culture, right? Like for what you can call it, I suppose. Like we're known as the cold northern. Like, what else do? You play in the snow, or you hang
Yeah.
out? Like, according to everybody else, we play in the snow or we hang out in our igloos, which we really don't, but the snow part's true. So, but like, it's part of that. We grew up as go play in the snow. I grew up outside. I was born in the 80s, so I grew up trying to get in the back door. That was my childhood. So, but this has been a fucking fantastic interview. I know I had said that earlier, but I like to make sure that I reiterate when I have great interviews, and I do. I'm really grateful that we got the opportunity to finally do this.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
This has been a ton of fun. It's
yeah,
no, it's just
definitely.
fun chatting about whatever. And again, making those connections. That's what it's all
Well,
about.
yeah, and it's, I like when, like I was saying earlier, I like when it's not scripted and I just get to shoot the shit, because there's no pressure, right?
Yeah.
You're not worried about what I'm going to ask you or what I may have dug up or what I like. I'm interested in
Yeah,
finding out
there
about
ain't much.
you
I'm
from
pretty,
you.
yeah,
You know, I want to know about the band from the band. I want to know about you from you. I like, I mean, sure, I'll go to your page and read about stuff. And, you know, when I do Sofa City Sounds books, I ask for your souls. But when I get to know people in interviews and stuff like that, and, you know, I'm looking for bands and stuff, this is how I like to do it because, you know, it's the most genuine way to get to know people.
for sure. Yeah.
So, and it gives the audience a really genuine aspect of both of us, you know, of the band that I'm interviewing, and my, you know, my interest in my like for the music, and you know, my love for the metal. Uh-oh, we're getting to that point. I haven't done that once tonight, and usually five
Yeah.
minutes in, I'm tripping over my own words. So I feel like I'm doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
So.
that was a good run. It was almost exactly when you hit the hour mark,
I
actually.
I
So
noticed that too.
yeah, yeah.
I noticed that too. But no, I do. I love when it's genuine, and I love when like people that watch, usually the views come after, right? Because
Yeah, that makes sense.
my advertising's been a little bit shoddy lately. My daughter, she's the one who does all my promos, and
Oh,
she's the one who does I well, I mean, like my kids were homeschooled for a really long time. So I kind of taught them how to like work Sofa City Sounds and run things and stuff. So
oh, neat,
my
neat.
oldest daughter, she does a lot of my messaging back and forth with bands, and she writes a lot of my scheduling down in my calendar and stuff. And then my youngest daughter usually does my video promos for me.
Huh.
We've been having some iron issues with her, so that's why we've been a little shitty on the advertising. And
Oh,
I don't want to take that job away from her, so I haven't learned how to do it yet. She enjoys getting paid for it, which I enjoy because I know that she wants to work hard for the things that she wants and she
for
likes.
sure.
So yeah.
No, that's
And
awesome that you're
government
getting
school
the.
just doesn't give them that. So I'm happy that they enjoy those things.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's really cool to kind of get the whole family involved and everything like that, and not only that, you're compensating them for your efforts. Geez, there's a ton of times where I work for free for my dad.
well, I'm still working it out because I'm learning, right? Like life is a learning process right up until the day we die. It really is. But I have learned some things about family businesses, and up until your children are 18, you can pay them $12,200 a year tax free for their efforts. And you like it like literally like licking an envelope, you know, little things like that. So I give my daughters $30 a month to do whatever they want. And you know, they, instead of getting paid for a little while, they chose Comic-Con tickets. And then instead of getting paid for a little while, they chose Cave Town tickets. And
Yep.
now we're working on Slipknot tickets. So I'm doing pretty well with not handing out paychecks.
For
I'm
sure.
going
Yeah.
to all the fun shows I want to go to. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
But
That. No. It's that, like you said. It's like striking that balance and finding what everyone's kind of wanting to do and is comfortable with,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's actually something I've been thinking a lot about myself. My wife is expecting and due with our first little one in September. There. Yeah. So.
That's so
Yeah, so that's
wonderful.
going to be a whole new challenge and a whole new kind of world that I never fully. I didn't even really know if I wanted kids at any point, but it's happening now, and I'm starting to get more excited for sure.
Well, I imagine that your wife is very much like you personality wise, and you two are gonna rock parenting.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Don't blink. Don't blink. Try not to sleep too much.
yeah, yeah, or
Don't
not
attempt to
enough, I
clean
guess.
anything
Although,
while your child is awake. That's like sweeping the laneway before the tornado comes through.
yeah, yeah,
But other than that, like, don't listen to anybody. The best advice I have is don't listen to anybody and do whatever works best for you.
that makes a lot of sense. No.
That's the best
No,
advice I
I
have.
always appreciate the I've kind of reached out to other people I know
Yep.
who are parents in that, and just like anything you can kind of tell me to prep going in, and a lot of the times they'll just say that, right? It's like follow your
Yeah.
intuition,
Yeah.
You know, you know what's going to be best for you and your kid more than anyone else's.
Yep.
And yeah, and just like, you know, you got this kind of thing. Trust yourself.
Well, yeah. You know, like you like, I mean, yes, mom carries and grows, but like your DNA is a part of that. So that child is a piece of you, and the intuition that you have is right for that kid, not just you, because they're a piece of you, right? So if you're like, hey, don't touch that, or hey, like it's okay to say hi to that person or whatever, you're gonna know, right? And your kid's gonna feel that. My kids and I have weird energy together, and it's wonderful. Sometimes I don't even have to talk. They just know what, you know, either needs to be done or what I'm going to say, or, and it goes both ways, right? I'm lucky. I have, you know, good kids, and you seem like you guys have genuine hearts, and you're going to be able to have that too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
congratulations, man. I'm really
Thank
happy
you.
for you.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
And don't hesitate to put a pair of headphones on her tummy and start the Cannibal Corpse. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's going
So
to be interesting because that's, you know, obviously we're, you know, I love her to death and we're very just compatible personality wise, but she's not a metal fan at all. Like
really, eh?
I kind of had to like introduce her to like she comes to my show. She's, you know, really supportive and just like of
That's awesome.
me, and she understands that it's my passion and all that.
Yep.
But yeah, she just doesn't get it. Right. Like she, at first, when she was like coming to a couple of my shows, when we like first started dating, she was like,
Yep.
are all these people like serial killers? Like, why are there so many people in trench coats? Like, I was like, don't worry, they're actually like really nice people.
Yeah.
You just gotta like talk. Most people who listen to this stuff are pretty just
mellow
relaxed and easy going, right? We have that outlet. We have that like
that's right.
that way to kind of release our stress
Yeah.
and all those like pent up emotions and that.
Yeah.
And very, very expressive. So she's come around, and I think she understands. She doesn't really like the music. Like she'd never go out of her way to listen to it, but she likes seeing me up on stage doing my thing. And I think she understands where it comes from a little bit more. I've educated her on the ways of the metal. Yeah.
Well, and that's what's important when it comes to support. You know, like I'm not a huge fan of, you know, pop metal, and this doesn't relate to a significant other. I'm not a huge fan of pop music. I said pop metal, but it was pop music is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Pop and metal sound weird in the same sentence. But my oldest daughter, pop music is her thing.
Yeah.
And she's been singing since she was 3 years. Actually, Derek Nelson from Temple of Night and Green Jelly and a slew of other projects. He actually records my kid every once in a while for her. So her 13th birthday present was her recording Jelly Rolls Save Me. So and like I don't get it, but I'm going to Cave Town and Mother.
Yeah. Hey, fair enough. Yeah. It's,
you know,
if my kid's into metal, fantastic. That'll be amazing. I can, you know, I'm gonna raise them to be a drummer because the world needs more drummers. But if my kid ends up falling in love with country music or hip hop or what, or even if they don't like music at all, you know, I want them to be happy and have an interest in something.
Well, and that's it. I mean, both my kids, they do like pop more than they like anything else. But my 11-year-old is the one who wants the Slipknot tickets, so I'm not going to complain. And I took her to see them when she was 6. That was her birthday present when she turned 6 years old. We went to see Slipknot.
Amazing! Wow.
It was
that's earlier than me. Yeah, it took me at least. I didn't even know what metal was when I was 6.
I was 13 and I went to see Sloan, and that's what started my music career. And then I heard War Pigs, and that was it. Like I was in. I got the card. I did the hair, the makeup, the clothing, the everything. I fell right into it. Like I was supposed to be here the whole time. So, but with my kids, like I'm a huge metalhead, so they always listen to metal. That's how I put them to sleep in the car. And like Cannibal Corpse, Mia loves them.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and Melody, I took her to see Iron Maiden for her first show. And that was great.
For the first one too.
Yeah, it was great. I let them pick what they wanted to do for their birthdays, and that's what they picked was Slipknot and Maiden, and we had a blast. We had a fantastic time. And Melody and I've done Glorious Sons and Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper and I can't, like, so many bands, so many shows. I've taken her to I can't tell you how many local shows, you know, and hey, this is so and so, and like she loves Eaten by Sharks and like
nice.
I love them. So, you know, like it kind of, they were kind of born into it. They didn't have a choice. Uh,
Fair enough. Yeah.
so yeah, well, with Iron Maiden, the first time I saw them, I was pregnant with Melody. The second time I saw them, I was pregnant with Mia and didn't know. And then the third time I saw them, Melody was standing next to me. So that was really fucking cool. It was awesome. I'll never see Maiden without her. So yeah, I really hope that you get to have those moments. Like, I hope interviews 25 years from now, you get to say, well, I took my kid to his first show and it was like fucking Thy Art Is Murder or some shit. And he's been a
Yeah.
drummer ever since. Right. Brian Swayze from and again, a million other projects. He's amazing. He took his son to Pantera in February, and that was his son's first show, and he's 3 years old. So yeah, you only got to wait a couple years, man. They have headphones and earplugs for that shit.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
they
very
do.
true. Yeah.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And if the vibration gets too heavy, if you carry your child instead of them sitting on a seat or standing on the ground, it lessens it for them.
Oh,
I learned it
well,
all.
there we go. Good, good
Yeah.
pro tips going into it. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if we're going to bring another one into the army, we got to make sure that they're comfortable right from go.
oh, for sure. Yeah.
So speaking of the army, my children are on their way home from the Boys and Girls Club. So as much as I could sit and chat with you all night, my phone is also on 5%. So that's going to suck if it dies.
That's fair too. Yeah. So we should put a ball on it while we still have the opportunity to.
Well,
wrap
yeah,
it up
yeah,
slowly on that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're on the socials, you're on Instagram, you guys are on Facebook, you're on TikTok, but you don't use it. But that doesn't mean people can't tag you and stuff.
No,
You know, and you know, I mean, they get the views. That means that you get the word of mouth, right? So that's awesome. I'll certainly be posting you on my TikToks. So like, I don't have a huge reach, but I mean, a couple hundred people see my shit.
Hey,
so
yeah, that's
you know,
better than nothing. Yeah.
well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So where else can we find you? We can find you at live shows. We can find you in London. We can find you supporting other bands and putting on shows as well as being in shows. You guys are on fucking fire, man. I see your name on posters all over the place. Hopefully you'll be on Sofa City posters soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blast. We will do this again. We'll definitely do an interview more exploring you and all your projects in depth. And then I'd like to do another interview with you and the band.
Yeah,
and explore all of you guys some more in depth. I've been talking to Order and Entropy and a couple of other bands. And right now I have band dates on the go. It's where we come to the falls for a day and we all go like mini putting or like zip lining or something. Well, because I live in the falls, right? Like I can see hotels from where I'm sitting. That's how close to the actual Niagara Falls that I live. I can hear them. I can hear the falls from where I'm sitting.
Right in the middle of Tourism Central. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I live right behind it. So there's Drummond Road and then there's Tourist from there on in. So, but yeah, like we're talking like mini putting and, ice cream and zip lining and the butterfly conservatory and stuff like that. And like getting some footage and putting it together. Much Music used to have a show called My Date With, and it was whatever band they were out with for the day. And I'm pretty sure that like the rights and terms and all that stuff, like it's no more. It's been no more for a long time. So I'd like to put my own spin on it. So I'm not exactly taking it from Much Music.
Yeah, you just take some creative liberties, make it your own, right?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, right? Like I wouldn't like to do it anywhere else besides Niagara Falls. I'd kind of like to surround it around here, instead of going to random places. So and I kind of like the places we pick to have some kind of commonality with some of the band members that I work with. Yep. So like we'll get that in the works. And then maybe when we get you guys down here for a show, maybe we'll like film us all zip lining or doing the mirror maze or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that'd be cool. And I like, again, we like to have fun. We like to kind of do it a little differently. So that sounds like a perfect fit for us. So
perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll
awesome.
we'll stay in touch and we'll get some more stuff on the go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, on that note, next Tuesday, I do this every week. I get ready to announce who's on the show next Tuesday. And guess what, guys? I can't. You have to tune in on Tuesday to find out who I'm interviewing. We are releasing the Ryfield schedule. I say we, Steph and Ryfield Studios are releasing their schedule for their festival in the Whiskey Pit, August 10th, 2024.
Nice.
But I have been graced with the opportunity, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this, of interviewing all of the bands the day that Ryfield releases that they're playing the show. So as the bands get released, they come over to Sofa City the evening that they get released, and we get to sit and shoot the shit and chat about, you know, how they got there and how they met Ryfield and all that fun stuff, and you know how they ended up in bands and stuff like that. So it's been a blast. So next Tuesday, you guys are just gonna have to tune in, because I've almost slipped a couple of times, but I'm not gonna do it. Cool. Next Thursday, fuck, I did this last Thursday. I knew that I had you on the show. Next Thursday, I can't remember who's in. I feel like it might be VCCR, or maybe they're the week after. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not good at this some days. Tune in, come back, come hang out with us, and we'll give you guys all things metal. So on that note, I'm kicking y'all out, and we'll chat for a second, and then yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday.